Hey y'all, welcome to What's Up Next. I'm Demetrius.
And I'm Justeen.
You are now tuned into our podcast where we take a deep dive into some interesting topics and everyday situations that we face as a young millennial couple.
For those of you who don't know us, What's Up Next is a play on my soon-to-be last name, but it's for sure a common phrase in our household. Anyway, let's stop talking and let's get into this week's episode.
Let's get it.
So we're talking about fatherhood. No, I'm not pregnant.
Disclaimer, we are not expecting.
No, please do not hit my line asking me if I'm expecting or if I am hinting at anything. No. The answer is no, Scott.
So the reason behind this podcast is because Father's Day just passed, and we kind of had a genuine conversation just about our thoughts and feelings on fatherhood as a whole. So we said, man, let's go and put it on wax. And so here we are.
Yeah, and you shared something. So Watts shared something kind of like in the moment, and I was like, whoa. Like, I never thought about that, nor have we ever really had this conversation. And we have very few of these moments, but when we do have them, they're very, like, deep. Mm-hmm. Or at least I like to think that they're deep. So why don't you share with your
so
comment?
We were, chilling on Father's Day. It was like towards the end of the day has passed. It's been solid. Something, I forgot how we got on topic, but I pretty much end up stating that I have never, at any point in my life, looked forward to Father's Day. And she was just like, what? The look on her face changed. She was like, bro, that's sad. And I'm just like, it is what it is. For those of you who are first-time listeners or don't know us personally, I grew up in a single-parent household, raised by my mother. And while I knew my father, he didn't play a huge role in raising me throughout my life. So
right.
Definitely around young adolescence, I was able to visit him from time to time, weekends and stuff like that. So I definitely know my dad. But as far as knowing what it's like to have a father or someone that you look up to or get excited to celebrate Father's Day for, I've never had that experience.
Difference between a father and a dad.
I'm not really one who's big on the terms of that person just gave me life, but they ain't really my dad. I get it, Some people say that's my dad, but he was never a father to me. So I think a father is a person who, steps into that responsibility and makes as much of an effort to be there as best as he can.
Right.
And does everything with genuine intention.
Yeah.
And I just keep it broad like that because you could vary. And I'm not a father, so I can't speak with a whole bunch of confidence on what it takes to do that. But just from my opinion, I would say that's what a father is.
Right.
What about you? Someone who has a father and a great one at that. And I know we talk about this a lot, and I'll get into that later. But how would you describe your relationship with your father and just growing up with him or both parents in your life, still happily married?
Yeah, and I'll put it out for listeners so that they have a little bit more of a tidbit of us. I was raised in a 2-parent household. My parents are high school sweethearts, and they're still together. Me and my dad's relationship has always been really close. He is the sports and hobbies dad, if we put it that way. When I was younger, my dad would take me to do car stuff with him, and that at some point fell into a hobby for me. Sports, he was, as much as he could be there, he was there at soccer games, soccer tournaments. Just as of recently, as of last year, he had a stroke in November. Mm-hmm. And that has changed our relationship drastically. Mm-hmm. And I think me and him just had this conversation yesterday. We went from being I talk to you every other week to now we talk every day. And I typically talk to my mom every day. And me and my mom are extremely close. But to talk to my dad every day is much different. But yeah, like me and my dad have a great relationship. I think he is the ideal role model for fatherhood, I would believe. But yeah, the most important thing for me out of fatherhood is presence. Like you can...
I've heard Banks say that.
Yeah, it's just presence.
Over presence.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of clean.
Yeah.
Like, presence over presence.
And there's been some moments, and my dad will tell you, is like, we've had some, like, we ain't good. And we ain't been good for months type of moments in my 23, almost 24 years of life. Mm-hmm. But we've also had some really great moments where I've been like, wow, I'd never thought I could get to that point with my dad. But yeah, presence is the most important thing in fatherhood from what I've experienced.
I would heavily agree with that. I've always said it to you, just what I personally feel like a father is, especially to a daughter, you know, his presence being there for his daughter. You being, I think, like the first real girl that I've like dated that was blessed and fortunate enough to have both parents, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Present. And I just see different things in you that I didn't see in, you know, a lot of other people that I've met. And it's just crazy to see those characteristics stand out, which further emphasize the importance of a father, you know? And I think it's just important for fathers to be there. And I know I definitely talk about myself, just areas where I lack and where I feel like my shortcomings are, because I never really had someone to tell me, yo, you're doing it right, you're doing it wrong, or to lead by example.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like many people that are in similar situations, many of my peers, we are trying to create environments that we didn't come from. You know
Facts.
what I'm saying? So because the lack thereof drives us to create that family dynamic that we so much long for in our youth.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And you and Banks had a conversation. I think when we moved, you guys had a conversation, and you had given me like one quote out of that conversation that I think has really stuck, is how great of men you would be if your mom didn't have to be the mom and dad.
Exactly. Yeah. It's and when I said it, like, I forgot what we were talking about. Me and the Banks were in the shop just cleaning up, and we were just talking about life. But it was like, yo, you know, we didn't really get to experience what it was like to have someone who was 100% our mother, you know? Just
right.
Pure nurture vibe. We also had to have that disciplinary come from our mother.
Right.
And, you know, shout out to the mothers that have to do both, you know? We commend y'all and we appreciate y'all. But yeah, it was just a thought that we had, like how much greater we could be if our moms could just be our moms and our fathers were present to be our fathers.
Yeah, and I think being in a 2-parent household where I was blessed enough to have that, if I got a whooping from my dad, my mom was right there, like ready to like nurture me. And vice versa. If me and my mom got into some type of argument, more than likely it was like we were shopping and I said something wrong, slick at the mouth, and I came home and my dad was just like, all right, let's go do something. Let's go kick a soccer ball. Let's go. Like he would get me out the house or give me an excuse.
Yeah.
Which is valuable, right?
For sure.
That was the only way that I could correlate or relate to what you were saying when I was like, dang, your mom was she was everything.
My mom was everything. And shout out to her, for real. I know it wasn't easy, and you did it young, and you did it well. But yeah, I'll never forget my mom. Like, when we laugh about it now, but I'm like, dang, Mom, you used to do me shady. She's like, bruh, I was raising a young man, and I'd rather have you respect me, you know what I'm saying, more than anything.
Yeah.
I needed your respect. And I was like, it's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Well, she probably wanted her son to love her, you know, and be like, oh, man, like, I love my mama. Like, she needed me to fear her more than anything. Or who knows, you know, what I could have turned out to be, you know? That's crazy. I just thought about that just now. But, yeah, man, it's crazy. It's wild. But I did tell you that, I won't look forward to Father's Day until it's my opportunity, to, if I'm blessed and fortunate enough to bring children into this world, that, man, I'm just going to be, for one, thankful for that opportunity.
And now I know I got to updo Father's Day.
Oh, man, you ain't got to do much, just a Lamborghini and,
Says the same person who sat here and said, if you just let me sit here with my child and play video games all day, that'd be a great Father's Day.
I'm fronting for the podcast. I don't need no Lamborghini.
No, you don't. You won't get one.
Chevelle will do.
Okay.
I'm playing. But go ahead.
No, I recognize, like I said, we don't have many of those like moments where like we go deep into our past. Mm-hmm. But when we do, it's like, wow, I have to recognize that there's things that are going to differentiate, that's the word I'm looking for, differentiate between both of us, in our past and where we come from, and our home lifestyles, that will impact the way that we raise children or the way that we have conversations with children, or how we reflect on ourselves as parents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that I'm like, I could be better at this than my mom was. I could be better at this than my dad was. Or I have expectations.
That they set very high?
Yes. Uh-huh. And I have to maintain. But I also have, because I come from a 2-parent household, I have expectations for you. Of like, I expect you to do this as a father because I saw my father do this, but it would almost be ignorant of me to have that expectation when you haven't seen that.
And we had that battle. We for sure had that battle since what, when we first started dating? I remember vividly having a conversation. We moved into an apartment together for the first time living together, and we had an argument for something stupid, as we all humans do. And I was like, man, I'm finna leave. I'm finna go. She's like, no, bro, like, you not leaving. We finna sit here and talk. I'm like, bro, no, I'm not. Like, I'm gone. I'll holler at you when I get back. And that came from our upbringing, where you seen your parents battle through the toughest situations and staying strong and still be here today.
Right.
That's amazing. Where I've, didn't have a visual representation of that. So how would I know that's how I should conduct myself in that situation?
Right.
My thing is flee. You know what I'm saying? Flee. Right. Fight or flight. I ain't trying to fight with you, so I'm gonna just get out of here.
Right.
And we learned that early on. So that's crazy. But I like the thing that you said. There's certain things they're gonna hold me accountable for because your father had set the example, and I think that statement's powerful in itself. And I kind of take I accept the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
You accept the challenge? You sure?
Yeah, for sure. I told you, when you talk about your dad, when we walking through the parks or walking through the neighborhoods, talking what we talk, and I respect what your father has done for his family, and setting you up for success. Even long after, his time on this place. So, and I think that as a man is commendable. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I vow and have goals of doing myself. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Pops.
For my children. Yeah. And I told you, I was like, bro, I don't think your dad knew his actions alone would impact me. You know what I'm saying? Down the road.
Right.
He never would have knew that. No. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And one other thing that we recently have been, I will say we've actively been challenged with is unity and what unity kind of looks like. I'm a firm believer that if I go, you go, I go, we go together. We move in a pack, right?
Right.
And that's just based off what I've seen. Because I've never seen it any other way.
Right.
So when there's moments where you're like, well, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Oh, God, I'm going to the store. Why didn't you ask me if I wanted to go? For what? And you're like, it's just the principle to you.
It's the principle, right. And it could be something small, and it could be something big. Like, we've had both scenarios. But unity is the biggest thing that has been our challenge that we're working on.
For sure. Yeah. And it's like it's crazy. I think I was telling my sister on the phone, like, I don't have nobody to model how to do this after. You know what I'm saying? And I think we speaking on generational curses. I know we had talked about that too that day. And, you know, my mom, just the thought of her son, her only son, you know, getting married, she's like, wow. You know, I don't think you really understand the power of what you're doing right now. Like the line of the lineage of men in your family.
Right.
This is foreign to them. You know, and it had her in tears, and it really emphasized, you know, what I was doing. And I think it brought it to the forefront of my mind, like, all right, this is a big deal. So just breaking those generational curses, man. But while it's a blessing and a curse, because while I'm trying so hard to do it and get it done, I don't know how. And so it's all trial and error. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have great role models, you know what I'm saying? Got Kyle, got Banks, many clients of mine, many other men that I've seen from my homeboys, they fathers, you know. So I try to pick their brains, observe, and implement, and hope that I leave a great legacy along the way. But yeah, man, we saying too much, or maybe we saying just enough. But this was just our thoughts following Father's Day, and we really just wanted to discuss like the importance of fathers and how we see it playing out in our lives.
I mean, I will say I thank all the fathers
Facts.
out there. I commend you. I applaud you. My black fathers, keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
I know it's not
odds.
easy. You're raising beautiful black children, and continue to work hard and know that you are appreciated
And valued.
Yeah.
And as I'm told all the time, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So to them black kings, we salute you and we appreciate you.
And we thank you.
And on that note, we out. Y'all be blessed.